Today we are going to discuss about your college final year project report. So for the students who are pursuing their BCA or MCA, in your final year you have to submit a project report. So the first thing is that you have to submit the project proposal. So after that proposal will be approved, then you can submit your project report. In the between time you have to develop a software, right? So in your final year project you have to develop a software, and before you develop the software you have to take the permission from the regional center. So that is what you are going to submit the project proposal. So after that project proposal will be approved, they will give you a pro forma of the project proposal. So you can see this photo, the red color enclosed, there is a signature and seal. This paper will be given to you if your project proposal will be approved, right? So when you will be making your project report, this page should be at the top, right? So this you will get this particular paper when your project proposal will be approved, right? So this paper will be placed at the top of the file, right? So in the next page you just have to add the certificate of originality. So you can download this certificate of originality from the internet, right? So there you have to fulfill, you have to provide your name of the guide under whom you have prepared this project, and there should be signature of yours along with your enrollment number, your address, your name, and also you can see the right side, at the lower bottom right side you have to add the signature of your guide. So your guide must do signature over here at the right side. So followed by the signature there will be the name and the address of the guide. So these two pages are very important. So these two pages we have to add at the top of your book, right? That is your project report. Now after that you have to prepare this sort of front page, right? So this sort of front page you have to prepare both for your project proposal as well as project report. So same page you can include whatever you have done in your project proposal, that page you can include in the project report. You need not require to prepare again, okay? So most of the things which are included in this project report that has already been submitted as your project proposal. So those many number of pages you need not require to prepare again. You will just do one thing. So those things you will add in your project report, right? And whatever you have not submitted in your project proposal, only those portion you have to prepare. Now after that we have to include the biodata, right, of the project guide, and followed by the ID card of the project guide. So this is very important. You have to add these details. So that is the biodata of the project guide and the ID card. So let me tell you one thing, that in some cases few students do prepared their own project by themselves, right? So they need not require any guide help, right? But as for the formalities you have to add a guide detail over here, right, in the first 3 pages that we can see. And also while you are submitting your project proposal, there are some spaces where you have to add the guide detail. So you need to find a person who has completed MCA along with a few years of experiences in a industry field, or you can say in any other field, right? So that is what the eligibility criteria for the guide. So you can find the eligibility criteria of the guide in the internet, right? That you can find the official IGNOU website. So what are the eligibility criteria for the guide? So you need to have a person and you have to request that person to give his signature, right? So the person had to sign over here. So that signature is important. In case you have not taken help of any guide, you must find a person who will do the signature over here, right? And along with the signatures, the person also had to give you the copy of the biodata, right? And also the ID card. It could be voter card, PAN card, Aadhaar card, or you can say the job ID card. Whatever identity card the person will give you, that will be sufficient, right? So copy of those biodata and identity card, right? Now after that you have to create this table of content page. So you must have noticed in books. So books also contain this kind of indexing pages. So what this page will do, in this page there will be a detailed information that will be given, that all these topics are to be covered in the project report. And to find a specific topic, you did not require to go through all the pages, right? Just by looking at this index page you can go to that particular page. So that is why in some cases the examiner who will evaluate the process of your project report, so what they will do, they might not go to each and every pages. So there will be many number of pages in your project report, right? And the project report which you have prepared, sometimes it is not possible to go and read each and every pages, right, for the person who is going to evaluate the process. So what they will do, they will just go to this index page, that is the content of the table, right? Or you can say table of content. Now they will just find where to go, which topic they are going to see, and they will just go and access that number of the page in your project report. So this particular table of content, or you can say indexing page, is very very important. So you have to do this smartly. Now all these topics has to be covered. You can see what are the topics that is written over here. All these topics had to be covered. Now see the first topic, that is title of the project. So you have to include the title of the project. So what does it mean? That means what project you have developed. So you can see this is my final year project which just I have prepared and I will submit, right, to my regional center. Now I have prepared a project on online examination, evaluation and certification system, right? So my project proposal that has been approved, that you can see at the first page, I have attached the approved form. After that I have attached the certificate of originality, and then I have followed with the project guide, biodata, ID card and so on, right? So this is the title of the project which has been approved, and you also need to add this title page, right? And after that should be followed by the purpose of the project. So purpose of the software. Now why had I developed that software? You have to write. So whatever software that you have developed, so it might be a e-commerce portal, it might be a library management system, it can also be a online reservation system, right? So whatever software that you have developed, there must be some purpose behind it, right? Nothing in this world is possible without purpose, right? Everything is happening with certain purpose. So you have to write the purpose. So in my case, whatever purpose I have written, because I have developed the online examination system, you can see over here, in the purpose it should also include whatever the requirement, right, that accept valid details as input from the candidate. So this is my requirement to solve this purpose, right? Now register those details after proper validation, right? So these are all my purposes. So you have to write the purposes along with the input and output requirement, right? Now how this thing will be happen? So this thing what I have written over here, according to your project, you have to understand and write the same, right? Now introduction of the project. So it is a very simple thing that you have to write a few paragraph about your software which you have prepared, right? So as I told you, I have developed a online examination system, and so I have given a brief introduction on that how that particular software will work, how the examination will be taken. The examination will be taken in MCQ mode, which I have written over here, and what are the inputs that has to be given through the software, and how the software will execute those input to perform and process and deliver the output. What will be the output? The output will nothing but the certificate after evaluating the student. The student will register themselves, the student will give the exam. After completing their exam, the student answer that will be evaluated by the software itself, and after that they will be given a certificate. Only the pass candidate will be awarded with the certificate. So this is what I have written about my software as an introduction. So you have to write about your project. So whatever software that you have developed or you are just about to develop, you have to give a brief introduction. Let's say you have developed a library management system. So what could be the introduction? You have to write that the library management system which has actually overtaken the manual process of managing the library, right? So it can be managed by 2 employees. The manual process of handling the library that was to be managed by 20 employees, but in case of this software will be managed by only 2 employees. It will keep record of all the books, all the author name of each and every books with its unique identification number. So the candidate, the students, the staff who are just taking these books, all those things will be recorded, and when they are returning those books, that will also be recorded. What will be the due date before which the student has to return the book, that will also be managed by the software. And if student return the book or any candidate return the books after crossing the due date, will they be charged any penalty cost? If that is so, that will also be implemented, and the software has to manage all these affairs, right? So this thing we have to write in case we have developed a library management system. So whatever software that you might have developed, so accordingly you have to give a introduction, right? Now after that you have to write the objective, right? So there should be certain objectives behind developing such software, right? So as I have developed online examination, evaluation and certification system, my objectives was that the student did not require to come at the exam center. So student can give their exam from their home, sitting at their home using mobile, laptop, desktop, whatever device they have. Just they need to have an internet connection and they can give their exam sitting at their home. So that was my objective, because it has been observed in some of the cases that those students who are residing in far distance location from the exam center, they fail to attend the exam at right time. So that is why they face difficulties to give their exam. If this online exam system will be implemented, then those students who are staying in far distance can easily attend their examination. And also we know that just during this COVID pandemic situation, we had to avoid the public gathering, and to do so online examination system has to be implemented, because we can't compromise the education process. That has to be an ongoing, right, an ongoing exercise, right, that we can't compromise. So, and also we had to avoid the public gathering to prevent COVID-19 to spread all around the world. So that is why we have used this online examination system to conduct the examination for the students who can give their exam sitting at their home. So this was the objectives for which I have developed this online examination system. So you can read this para to understand what I have done, and accordingly whatever software that you have developed, you have to write the same for your software. So let me give you an example. If you have designed a e-commerce portal, so what could be the objectives? The objectives could be very simple, that the customer need not require to reach the point of sale location to purchase goods and services. Sitting at their home, by managing with their fingertips, accessing their mobile, they can hire any services, they can purchase any products, right? They need not require to reach physically to the location. And whenever new product will come, whenever new service will be introduced, so customer will be informed through the app or through the websites. So this will be the objectives for those who have developed the e-commerce portal. So you have to write in detail, right? Though this is a very simple thing which I have told, you have to add some more para, you have to explain thing that how it is effective to just reduce the cost of things, right? To manage a physical store you have to involve huge cost, right? But to manage a virtual store you need not require to invest a huge amount, right? You can just manage everything virtually, right? You did not require to purchase a big showroom, you need not require to purchase number of stocks, right, to fill up with the showroom. So there are lots of advantage of using a virtual mode of selling products. So that is how you can implement with the e-commerce portal, right? So whatever software that you have developed, you have to explain the objectives for that, right? Now for developing the software, what environment that have you used, that you have to write. In my cases it will be same in whatever software you might be developing. This could be common. Let's say hardware requirement specification. So I have used computer, laptop. In my computer it is required that in my computer I have 2 GB RAM. So that means 2 GB RAM or higher, that could be enough, right, for executing this software. A dual core processor or higher, so that will be enough. 80 GB of hard disk space or more, right? Now network connection, that is also required. It could be internet or internet. So how can it be distinguished, right? So in case you are installing the application in a local organization and where all the affairs has to be managed in the local systems, you did not require to connect over the internet. In that case just internal local area network will be sufficient. You did not require to have the internet connection. In case you have to do hosting, then you need to connect to the internet, where from other cities, from other state or from other country your application has to be accessed. For that you need to have the internet connection. And software requirement specification. So first you need to have the operating system, that is the system software. So Windows 7, 8 or 10, whichever software you might be having at your system, that will be enough. So you have to write that. And application software that you need, that is Apache server. So I have installed the application on XAMPP or WAMP, whatever these two will work, right? XAMPP or WAMP, both will work, right? Now you need to write the program in a text editor. I have used NetBeans text editor. You may use some other text editor, you can write it down, right? Some languages. So for the graphics designing I have used the Photoshop, and I have used these languages HTML, CSS for the front end design, JavaScript for the front end validation and event creation. I have used the PHP for server side scripting language for connecting the front end to the back end database. And also I needed to use the MySQL database for backend storing the data. So all these are my requirement. Also this requirement could be same if you have developed any application, let's say library management system, or you can say online reservation system or e-commerce portal. This list of environmental used software hardware requirements could be common for both of you, me and you, right? So now in case of PHP you might have used JSP. I don't know, that whatever language you have used, you have to write it over there. I have used PHP for my final year project. Now see, software requirement specification. So you have to write the software requirement specification. After that, that is SRS. So first you have to include the category, that which category of project. So is it a desktop application, right? Is it a mobile application? Will this application work on both mobile and laptop? Will this application work on a Android phone? So it should be specific. So you have to write the specific, that what kind of application that you have developed, right? Then the examiner will start to think in that category. So the mindset will change. If you write this is a mobile application, now the examiner or the person who is going to check this report will think from that perspective. The thinking perspective will change, right? So first is category. After that you have to write the purpose. That purpose, why have you developed this software, right? So that you have to write what are the purpose for you to develop the software, what are the purpose in real life that will be solved by this software. So you have to write. So I have prepared a separate video for SRS where I have give you a complete information about writing the SRS. So I will suggest you, if you have not seen that video, you can go and watch that video, because I am not going to describe the SRS in detail. I will just go and read the topic. So after the purpose you have to write the scope. What scope does it have, does this particular software have, right? Now after that you have to write introduction. In the introduction you have to write on both perspective, that is about the software which you have developed, right? That is the existing software and the proposed software. So if you write about the existing software, that before you have developed that software, how the thing has been managed. Let's say about the library management system, that before you develop the software of the library management system, how the library was managed, right? The library was managed manually. 10 or 20 staff was managing that library. That you have to write. Now proposed software, that after you have developed or after you will be developing the library management system, how it is going to help, right? The purpose, how it is going to help the organization, or how will it solve the purpose, right? So you have to write the proposed software must be better than the existing one. The software which you are going to develop, or the software which you have already developed, that must be better than the existing one, right? So if you say that manually process was better than the software which you have developed, then that is not going to a feasible software. Then why had you developed the software which is not going to work more efficiently than the existing process, right? You have developed the software to give benefit to the organization, right? That means it should be efficient than the process which till now has been handled manually, right? So that we have to write that about the existing process, and after you have developed or after you will going to develop the software, what it includes, what benefit does the software have. In each and every term you have to explain. Just you can see what I have written over here for my software, you have to understand, and accordingly you can write for your software, right? Now after that you have to write the advantage, right? The advantage of using that particular software in each and every perspective of the users. So you have to first estimate the number of users who are going to use the particular software. In my case, that you can see my software that I have developed, that is online exam system, that will be used by the students, right? So for the students perspective I have written, and also that will be used by the teacher, So on the perspective of the teacher, I have also written something. And not only that, I have also written from the perspective of the organization. So there are 3 users for my software. For my software there are 3 users category, right? From the organization point of view, right? What is the advantage from the organization point of view? What is the advantage from the teacher's point of view? And what is the advantage from the student's point of view? That I have written in the advantage section. So accordingly you have to categorize the number of users who are using your software, and you have to write the advantages, right? And now after that, the functional requirements of the system. So with a very simple word, I will say that the functional requirements are the requirements which will be informed to you by the client. The client will tell you about the functional requirements which you have to incorporate in the software. That you have to write over here. I have prepared a separate video for functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So I will suggest you that please find those videos from the description below, right? So you must see those videos which I have prepared for the functional and non-functional requirements, right? I am not going to explain you in detail. Now, as I told you, you have to write for the functional and also for the non-functional requirements. So what are the non-functional requirements? Such requirements which will not be informed by the client, right? Client will not going to tell you about the requirements. Those are non-functional requirements. Client will only tell you about the functional requirements, but still there are certain non-functional requirements. As a developer, you have to write those non-functional requirements, right? As a developer, you have to understand what are the non-functional requirements. So the non-functional requirements are nothing but the supporting requirements. You can say supporting technical requirements, right? To satisfy the goal of the functional requirements, right? To satisfy the goal of the functional requirements, there are certain technical non-functional requirements. Now the client who have asked you to develop the software, they are not the technical person, right? So they will not going to tell you about these requirements because client have no idea. But you are the technical person. Being a software developer, you are the technical person, and you have to assume the non-functional requirements, and you have to write down those non-functional requirements, right? Now after that, you have to write the software tools, right? Whatever software tools that you have used, write down the list, right? Now after that, the deployment process, right? So deployment is nothing to give an environment for the application to execute. The application will execute after the installation process or after the hosting process. So whatever application we have prepared, depending on that application, the deployment process will vary, right? In some cases, the application has to be installed, then only it will execute. So that you have to write that how it is to be installed, where it is to be installed, and in some cases the application has to be hosted, right? Either in local server or in shared server or in the cloud server, wherever you can host the application depending on the requirements of the organization. So that you have to write in the deployment. And after that, hardware specification. So you have to write in detail that the hardware requirements for executing this application and also in developing this application. So that you have to write over here. After that, you have to write the ERD, entity relationship diagram. So I hope you know that how to draw this entity relationship diagram that you have to add, right? Also you need to add this thing in your project proposal. I hope you know how to do this, because in your project proposal you also had this requirements to add this entity relationship diagram. So you don't require to prepare again. So that page only you will include over here, right? Whatever you have submitted in the project proposal, at the time of submitting your project proposal, only you add that page here. So I have added that only over here. After that, the zero level DFD, right? You know how to create the zero level DFD, that you have to add, right? So also you have to express the input output operations. So whatever the inputs that will be given to the software and whatever the output that will be generated out of the software. So in the zero level DFD you have to add all those things, right? So one thing I will do, I will just increase the size so that you can see how it is to be done. We can see this is the 0 level DFD, right? Inputs and outputs, these are the input and output for my software. So accordingly you have to understand and do the same for your software, right? Now this is level 1 DFD. Just see, this is the level 1 DFD. You know how to do this. So after that you also need to write the input and output for the level 1 DFD. Each and every module had been separated, right, in this level 1 DFD, right? So module has been separated for this many number of module, and you can see input and output that has been shown over here, right? You know that in 0 level DFD module separation will not take place. In level 1 DFD module will be separated. You can see this many number of module, right? And this is the level 2 DFD, right? This is the level 2 DFD. So these three you have to add over here, level 1, level 2 along with the 0 level DFD, right? And also this is the input output, right? Now after that you have to write the database design. So you have to write the tables, all these things you have to write. You can see how you need to write this about the table, database and table. You have to write the design structure for the database and table, right? So this many number of tables which I have written about those, right? Now after that you can see this project detail module input requirements from the user end. So just you have to write about the project detail modules, right? Project detail modules, whatever project that you have developed, you have to write about the project detail modules along with the input requirements from the user end. So expected input from the user end depending on the project that you have developed, right? So you may just read whatever I have written, right, for my project, and you have to assume the same for your project, right? Accordingly you have to decide what you need to write for your project. So for my project I have written this thing, right? Now these are all the modules. Now testing process to be used for the software, how the software will be tested, right? Unit testing and it will be done, integrated testing will be done, system testing will be done, boundary testing will be done for the numeric value. All this thing will be done. You can see how this thing is to be executed that I have written over here. Now after that you can see this testing report, unit testing report. See, so I have done the unit testing and this is the report you have to add, right? So depending on the software which you have developed, you have to add the testing report, right? Do you know how to do the testing report? I hope you know, otherwise I will give you a link of the video how to do this testing process of a software, right? Now see, this is all I have done for the testing of the software. You need to add the test report of the software, right? Just see what I have done. These are all the testing, right? So each and every module had been tested. These are called the unit testing, where all the module will be tested. Now this is integrated testing. That means combination of two or more modules. So once the testing will happen on the combination of few modules, right? This is not unit testing. Previously whatever I have shown, all those are unit testing. Unit testing will be done on each and every module, but the integrated testing will be done on the combination of one or two modules, right? Now after that you can see all these are integrated testing. Now at the last we have the system testing. This is the system testing, right? And after that you can see I have given the printout. So you also have to give the printout. So you can see the printout of the application. So you can see we have a examination column. This is my application printout. Whatever application that you have developed, you have to give the printout of the application, right? Now we can see you have to add this printout, right? You can see after completing the exam successfully, the student will be given a certificate, and if student fail to score the marks, pass marks, then this message will be shown to the failed candidate. So this is my project which I have developed, and for your project you have to do this, right? You have to provide the printout, right? This is the admin panel printout, and after that at the last you have to add the limitations of the project, right? So I will say one thing: there are no such software in this world which is 100% complete, right? You cannot say that, you cannot specify a single software for which you can assure that this is a 100% complete software. No, this is not going to be possible, because if that had been the case that a software is complete 100%, then updation would have never been possible, right? Modification would have never been possible, right? If you see that in this world, every technical application, software or whatever, you can, not only software, hardware also, that is getting updated. Software and hardware all are getting updated in regular interval, right? You can say every month, some are getting updated every week, right? So why this is happening? Only because there are nothing in the world which is complete. That is why there are limitations. So when any limitations are found, to overcome the limitations, we just had to upgrade the system, right? So we know that electricity consumption is a limitation, right? If we upgrade any hardware system to reduce the consumption of electricity, that means if new idea arise to any person that to implement the process in a different way by which we can reduce the consumption of electricity, that means the software which was existing, that was not the 100% complete one. That means you can add your idea and make it much more efficient, and this process will go on till nowhere. It is not a process to be an endless process, right? The upgradation is an endless process. Every time you will see a new update will come that will make the system much more better, right? It could be hardware or it could be software. That means the software has a limitations. So what limitations that your software have, you have to write. So what limitation that my software is having, the software which I have developed, that is the online examination system, it has certain limitations. I have written that. You can read what limitation I have, that I have written. Candidate can get registered themselves by fake names and incorrect ID and other details. The registration module of this software will validate the format of the data and not the authenticity of the candidate. So my software which I have developed is not going to check that if the user has given accurate data or not. That means if the user has given their name or somebody else's name, is the user have given the correct ID or a fake ID or a fake photo or somebody else's photo, that this software is not going to check. This software will only check the format, right? The name can only be alphabet, the name can never be numeric. That is going to be checked by the software. The other number will be a 12-digit numeric value. It can never be a character of alphabet or a 15-digit value or a 9-digit value. It should be specific 12-digit numeric value that will be verified by my software, right? So my software will verify the format of the data and not the authenticity of the data, right? The data may be fake, the data may be valid, that not going to be checked, the data, right? So that is the limitations of my software. So you can read whatever I have written over here, and also that my software is not known to all person, right? So that means only the known person can use my application, right? Now as you will be writing the limitations, you also have to write the future scope of enhancing the software. That also you have to write. Future scope, right? That means how can you develop this particular software in future so that it will be much more efficient one. What additional feature that you have not added right now, but you will be adding later on. You are willing to add something more, some other features later on. Not now, you have not added now, but you will add later. That you have to write over here, right? So after that, at the end, last page, you have to add this thing, that is bibliography. What does it means? That is very simple thing, that in the process of developing this software, from which sources you have got help, right? From which sources you have got the helps in the process of developing this software. That you have to write, that I got help from the following, that is from which websites you have got some help for writing your code. That I have written over here, right? You also have to write accordingly, that from where you have got the help, from which books you have got the help, you have to write. In my case, I have not taken reference from any book, I have not taken help from any person, right? Everything I have done by myself. In your case, if you have taken any help from any books or any person, that you have to write down over here. So this is how you have to prepare your project report. And one thing I will tell you, that this printout you can also add at the first here. If you want, you can also add here at the starting. At the starting, just you can see, just after the title, if you want, you can add after the title. Also you can add after the purpose of the software, before the introduction, if you want, you can add the printout, or at the last you can also add the printout. So I will suggest you that you can go through the rules and regulation. Before you do anything, I will tell you that go through the rules and regulation, right? So a proper rules for writing the project report that has been given on the IGNOU official site. So this is what I have done. This is how I have prepared my project, that I have demonstrated before you. But I will suggest you, before you submit your project, just go through the official IGNOU website, right? And read out the rules, what they have asked you for, right? And you can take my reference after that. So this is just my reference, my project which I have developed. I have developed this report, I have developed the software. Now I am going to submit my project report, right? So before I will submit my project report, I thought that I will just explain the same before you, so that if any student are just about to submit your final year project, can be helped, right? So in that purpose, I have just demonstrated my project report before you, right? But I will suggest you that just don't follow blindly what I have done. Just go through the IGNOU official websites, read whatever they have written, right? And you should follow that, right? So thank you for paying attention and watching till the end. I hope I just have I could develop some idea of creating a project report. So thank you for paying attention, and if you have not subscribed my channel, I will request you that please do subscribe my channel, so that I will be motivated to share my more experience with you. And if you like this video, please click the like button and share this to your friend. Thank you.